Hello and welcome again. All right, this video we're going to talk about validating user input, and I have a small program here that asks the user to input a number or input the letter Q to quit. And they can input an uppercase or lowercase q, doesn't matter, but if they input any other letter, that's invalid, that's not a number. So I want a number or the letter Q. So my user input is set to 0.0 by default, and this actually gives it, make sure that I can use a float, not just an integer. Okay, and then I have a Boolean variable that I'm going to call game over. I set it to false. And I'm going to start a loop immediately and say while game over is not equal to true, while it's not game over, I'm going to execute all this loop body. So my whole program is just the loop. When game over eventually becomes true, I print goodbye at the end here, and that's the end of my program. So game over will eventually be true over here in my code, actually, if the user has input the letter Q. Okay, so the first part that I do in the loop is get some user input. I prompt the user to enter a number or letter Q. That user will enter, they could enter anything from the keyboard, okay? The first thing that I try to do with whatever they enter is force it to be a float and then put it in the user input. If I have an error when that happens, then I don't print out that it's a success. Okay, as soon as that error happens, I leave the try portion and go right down to the accept portion in my try except block. And then I know it's not a number because that part didn't work. So now I'm guessing it might be a letter. So I check to see if I can take that user input, make it lowercase, and is it equal to just plain old Q? If that's true, that means the user entered Q, assuming they did it on purpose. Game over equals true, and the loop goes back around to the test. It tests game over is true, so we exit the program. If the user entered something that is not true, my else here, I'm just going to print invalid, please input a number, circle the loop again. In this case, game over would still equal false, so I just run the whole process over and over again into infinity. As long as the user never presses Q, this program will keep on running. So I'll run it, right? Input a number or Q to quit. So I'm just going to start inputting numbers, success, and then it prints my number back out to me as a float, 0.0 at the end, okay? So as long as I keep putting numbers, all right, I just keep getting success messages for all these numbers. Now if I start inputting letters, I'm going to continue getting invalid, please input a number. And if I input blank, same thing, invalid, please input a number. Okay, I can put numbers again and I can start getting a success message. As soon as I do that, the loop goes back around. Every time I press enter, the loop goes back around and asks me to put in a number, and it's either going to be a number or not a number. And if it's not a number, it's either going to be Q or not Q. So this is my test. This, whenever I type something that's not a number, this line actually does throw an error, but that error doesn't break my program. It just falls down into the accept clause and then tests whether the input is Q or not Q. And it's going to be either Q or not Q at this point. So now I'll go ahead and type Q. Type Q, and it gets goodbye, my program ended. Okay, and just like that, my video ended. Thanks for watching.